Stay tuned till after the review to find out how you can help decide what figure will be reviewed next time on IdArmed Reviews.
IdArmed Reviews was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
So what's the deal with repaints? It feels like every week Hasbro announces some repaint up for pre-order or part of some crazy exclusive box set. And no matter how many times us collectors already owned the mold beforehand, we just have to buy this new version. It's like Hasbro thinks we're a bunch of suckers for buying them over and over again. But considering what I own, I think I'm a sucker. Going back to serious mode, repaints are actually pretty neat. While it usually is just a souped up recolor, it's fun to get molds you like representing other characters, both obscure and famous. And for today's subject, or should I say subjects, it's the interesting case where the repaints are those of considerably more famous characters than what came first. Welcome to IdArmed Reviews. Today we're looking at the Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Deluxe Class Prowl, as well as the Transformers Earthrise Deluxe Class Bluestreak. Both released in 2020, with Prowl released in the US as part of an Amazon-exclusive Autobot Alliance 2-pack with Ironhide, while Bluestreak was released as a Walgreens exclusive. Already in their vehicle modes, these two look very familiar. That's because, as it is very clear, Prowl and Bluestreak are remolds of the very first figure reviewed on this very channel, Earthrise Smokescreen. While for the most part everything is one-to-one the same parts-wise, the major difference is that Prowl and Bluestreak feature a brand new fun bumper piece that more accurately resembles the real-life Datsun 280 ZX Turbo. This helps separate them from the more racing-influenced bumper of Smokescreen, which is something the designers didn't have to do, but it's much appreciated. What helps to make Prowl and Bluestreak separate themselves more from Smokescreen is the excellent coloring and paintwork. Starting with Prowl, since he released first, the way Hasbro once again replicated a Japanese squad car's unique pattern is very well done for one. And in addition to the crisp white plastic, the crystal clear blue translucent plastic altogether combined to make a very fine cop car. If I had to complain about anything about Prowl's alt mode, it's that there is a lack of really prominent details outside of the police labels on the doors. I'm really hoping Toy Hex goes all out with a toy accurate sticker set soon. On the other hand, Bluestreak is just perfect. As with the Siege Datsuns, Bluestreak just looks the best out of the whole gang. The lively gray plastic is enhanced by the metallic-ish gray that makes up a majority of the top of the car. And in addition, Bluestreak features details not seen on the others, namely painted rims for all four wheels, as well as fully painted headlights, something Smokescreen didn't have. Because of these simple additions, Bluestreak feels the most complete when it comes to feeling like a model of the Datsun. And between Prowl and Bluestreak, the latter wins out of the two when it comes to accessories. He just comes with the same weapons as Smokescreen, 2 shoulder guns and a rifle. This is still much better than Prowl, who only has the rifle and a detachable siren shared with Barricade. Hasbro has this weird idea that Prowl shouldn't have missiles like the other Datsuns, but as I'll bring up later, he seriously needs them to feel less naked in certain parts of the figure. Otherwise, they do the exact same stuff Smokescreen can do, as mentioned in my review on him. So that includes stuff such as a 5mm weapon port on the top, opening doors, and something I failed to mention in Smokescreen's review, the rare ability to actually fit in Earthrise Optimus' trailer. Now that we've compared Bluestreak and Prowl to both Smokescreen and each other, let's get them into robot mode. As expected, Prowl and Bluestreak share their transformation with Smokescreen. This means I'll speed this part along since you've probably all seen it before, but that doesn't mean that transforming this mold on the second and third go around isn't bad. This mold still has one of the best transformations on a Deluxe in recent years, and easily trumps 2019 Siege Datsuns easily. And would you look at that, we got 2 stunning robot modes in front of us. You know, it sometimes feels like we buy repaints or remolds to find the one that just hits the spot. Hell, it took me 6 Earthrise Seekers purchased to finally find my personal favorite, Frost. But with the Datsun mold, first time was the charm with Smokescreen, and now Prowl and Bluestreak waltz in like the charm has evolved threefold. I don't care how many times Hasbro repaints this mold in the future, I'll still eat it up with how stunning it is. But let's get into those good old details, starting with Prowl, because there's not as much to say about him as Bluestreak in my opinion. But that doesn't mean he's not bad, because look at him! Out of all 4 Datsuns, Prowl's gotten the best upgrade from his Siege release, since he looks much more filled out and bulky in the lower section. The addition of actual paint on the forelegs also helps to make it look much more complete than Siege's rendition. And going back to his new tooling, the new front part of the car makes such a nice chest piece, once again differentiating the mold from Smokescreen. And the last piece of new tooling seen on both Prowl and Bluestreak is the new head. And wow, it blows Smokescreens out of the water with how non-exaggerated it is. And yes, it technically isn't accurate for Prowl, as he had a totally different head in classic Generation 1 media, but personally I don't mind, it's growing on me quite a bit. And if you have a spare Siege Prowl, with a little work you can easily swap the heads. If there's any issue I have for Prowl, it's that I lost the QC roulette with the filler piece on his right leg, as it occasionally falls off when moving it. Otherwise, Prowl on his own is pretty great. However, in the future, I'll definitely be nabbing those non-Nef weapon sets for him in the future, because he admittedly looks a little bare without those to compare to the rest of his mold mates. But moving on to Bluestreak, and oh my god, there's only one thing I can say. I legitimately thought that Siege Bluestreak was going to be the apex of not just Bluestreak, but all Datsun figures released at retail by Hasbro. But when I gazed my eyes on Earthrise Bluestreak, I knew pure joy existed for the price of $19.99 and driving to several Walgreens in a metropolitan area. Just like Prowl, Bluestreak's core design is massively improved by the bulkier lower limbs that Siege lacked, giving him a more consistent build. But Bluestreak already had an excellent deco beforehand, so when translated to his Earth rendition, it just looks so stunning. That mix of the grays, black, red, and translucent blue accents are mixed so helpfully throughout the body that he pops the most out of all 11 original Autobot cars. And that head sculpt, oh my god, that head sculpt. While Prowl already wore the head sculpt decently well, you can tell it was just sculpted for Bluestreak. And the combination of the metallic paints throughout, including the rare green eyes on a Transformer, helped to make him stand out even more. Add on the additional details Bluestreak featured in his alt mode, as well as his weapons equipped, and I don't know what else I can say about him. Well, this is more subjective since this is a your mileage may vary situation, but since I got a Bluestreak with perfect QC, I have no problems with the build of this figure either. Without even watching to the end of the video, I think you guys can see where my opinion on Bluestreak lie. To keep this review going as quick as possible and to not repeat myself from my old review on Smokescreen, I'll refer you to my review of that figure for an idea of just how posable Prowl and Bluestreak are compared to their contemporaries. And that rings true for size as well, with both standing at about 5.5 inches as expected. Both for some quick comparisons, here's Prowl and Bluestreak at Earthrise Optimus Prime, Prowl's partner in the Autobot Alliance box set, Earthrise Ironhide, Siege Barricade, customized by yours truly, and last but not least, Earthrise Smokescreen. And man, while I think Bluestreak and Prowl look so much better than Smokescreen, I have to admit that finally having all 3 Datsuns from the same mold is very satisfying. So Smokescreen already surprised me when I got him on a whim way back in November, and Prowl and Bluestreak have surpassed my expectations for just being remolds. I feel like each does their own thing both aesthetically and character-wise that is both totally worth getting only your favorites or going out and grabbing the whole trio. I know I didn't release a top whatever figures of 2020 video, but trust me that if I did, the trio would have been very close to first place. And let it be known that I am a sucker for repaint, but I am also a sucker with good taste, so take that, Hasbro. The last thing I want to note is that, as expected, I wholeheartedly recommend Prowl and Bluestreak if you can find them, with a big emphasis on if. This is because as exclusives, both have become increasingly hard to find both from their original retailers as well as the secondary market. And frankly, that's totally unfair to people who weren't able to get them in time. So while I think these two are worth your hard-earned neat bucks, please don't go overboard on paying for these two. And that's my look at Prowl and Bluestreak. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun doing another big video again. This is usually the part where I announce who's popping up next time on the channel, but next review is going to be a bit special. By some miracle, I've reached 100 followers on Twitter. To you guys who see the weird stuff I retweet and post every day, I both thank you, and I also apologize. But to celebrate, I'm opening up a poll over on my Twitter for you guys to decide who's next for IdArmed reviews. You guys have until Sunday to decide whether Studio Series 86 Hot Rod, Kingdom Cyclonus, Generation Selects Hotshot, or Power Core Combiner Smolder will be getting a spot at the next review. So I hope you guys participate, and if you don't have a Twitter, feel free to drop your choice in the comments below. And with that, I hope you guys are ready for who's coming up next. So see you all next time, and take care.